catch up with the CEO of G&G Pro, the Goosebumps company. He's going to be talking about harnessing the euphoric power of music on a grand stage to create stickiness with customers. This is a big topic and constantly moving target. But let's hear what we get from Greg Walsh. A round of applause for him, please.
What's the best party you've ever been to? What's the best experience you've ever had? When was the last time a moment gave you goosebumps? Music can transform.
Nelson Mandela, President of South Africa.
Music resonates. Music uplifts. But music on a G&G production stage inspires and spreads goosebumps. And not just goosebumps for fans, but also for brands.
Hey, Bixby.
Hey, Rage Festival. Welcome to the Samsung Megadome.
It's been over 20 years, but it feels like it's just the beginning. We can't wait to give you goosebumps soon.
So when last did you feel free? Truly free? Free of tomorrow's problems, your KPIs, ISPs, or OKRs? Free of your responsibilities as a parent, as a provider, as a colleague, an employee, a boss. Free of your anxieties, stresses, and endless unsolved problems. When last did music touch you, make you think? Have you ever stood in front of a music stage and been overwhelmed? Felt the bass from a song you love reverberate through your chest, maybe somewhere deeper, your soul? The lyrics of a song you love consume you, perhaps at the Backstreet Boys last weekend. Have you ever watched fireworks launch as a beat drops and a story is told by voice, music, lighting, and visuals, and goosebumps? Ever heard of a megamix? I'd like to show you a few snippets of this mysterious but wonderful thing we call megamix.
Initiating sound factory system check. Treble. Online. Mid-range. Online. Bass. Unacceptable. Increasing bass level. Bass. Online. System check completed. Switch on the night with Omega Tequila. Switch on your torches. As we light up the night, let's welcome Welcome to the stage. Black coffee. Samsung Galaxy Experience welcomes you to the Rage Festival Mega Mix.
Hello, I'm Greg Welsh, the CEO of G&G Productions. I've been involved in the ownership and production of live events for 20 years. Our mission each day is to create unforgettable goosebumps for fans and unrivaled triumphs for brands. We truly believe in the euphoric power of music on a grand stage to create unforgettable memories and ultimately, if harnessed correctly, create stickiness with customers. We do this by producing immersive events with mind-blowing productions and providing our brand partners unparalleled exposure. Over 20 years, we've pushed the boundaries and refined the art of event sponsorship, or as we prefer to call it, sponsorship. We've long since killed the crap, gotten rid of the flyer on the logo and banner at the event campaign. I think we all agree it's crap. It's crap for the consumer, it looks crap, and you guessed it, it's crap for the brand. Over 20 years, we've crafted pioneering partnership collaborations with more than 40 brands and had over 400 million rand invested by those brands. Just some highlight notes. We concluded the single largest title sponsorship of a music event at the time when Samsung sponsored Sensation Inner Space in South Africa at $1 million and created long-term measurable success for our partners. Also with Samsung from 2013 to 2018, we grew the Samsung Galaxy Experience brand for Samsung, a first-to-market mobile application and web tool with built-in ticketing and rewards. Through us, Samsung Galaxy Experience invested over 250 million rand into multi-year title partnerships of events including ours and events that belong to other promoters. Through first-to-market activations, influencer marketing campaigns, digital marketing strategies, artist music collaborations, and so much more. We even took the idea of VR and brought it to life with a 360-degree projected roof dome, which took six projectors and quite interesting content stitching to bring it to life. But at the time, VR was the next big thing, and it was an idea that we had to bring VR to life in reality. I'm not saying we're solely responsible for this. Samsung did many other things from a marketing perspective, and some of you in the room maybe even did some marketing for Samsung. But over this period, they grew their smartphone market share in the target audience, being particularly premium youth, from 4 to 44%. With Converse, we created a 7-year-long campaign called Sneakers Ride Free. Festival goers were encouraged to go into Converse stores, spend 1,000 rand or more on a pair of Converse sneakers, and Converse reciprocated with free festival transport all festival long. What was amazing to see from that is that over 50% of the audience were wearing Converse for all of those 7 years. With Olmeca Tequila and Brazilian-based DJ Alok, we really dived on something that was topical at the time. I think we all recognize Nando's for being particularly brilliant at topical marketing. In 2018, you might remember the mannequin challenge where you all had to stand still. And we stopped a dance floor of 3,500 people, and that video just completely organically drove over 40 million views on YouTube and Facebook, and I'd like you to watch it.
Sent flowers, but you said you didn't receive.
Soy el fuego que
And it's not just music. Sometimes we press the boundaries into other spaces as well. In 2017, we conceptualized the inaugural BMW M Festival for BMW, an immersive M Sport, adrenaline, music, and food experience festival. We set out with their ambition of getting 5,000 people to the event and had 20,000 people attend. And I've got a short clip of that for you as well. Not only was the attendance great, but together with BMW, we created something called the M Showroom, a 3,500 square meter showroom of brand new cars. And in the first year, they sold 107 vehicles. And again, 2 years later, the same thing was done and 120 vehicles sold at a festival. And of course, we delivered music on a grand stage. So although it was a motor vehicle event, we pressed the brand to try and dare some new things and not just check out the latest cars and car podiums with nice lights, but really take huge M moments on a grand stage for a car brand and leave lasting memories. Okay, so I was warned not to use this platform as a plug, so thank you for humoring me with that last bit, but I felt some contextual credibility might lend weight to some of what I want to share with you next. So why events, you ask? Well, let's recap a few marketing thoughts first. We live in a world of exponential media and digital growth. I think people have changed and many brands haven't. I still watch brands invest billions into TV commercials, radio adverts, print media, out-of-home media. I'm not saying these platforms don't have relevance, they absolutely do. But the reliance on and the percentage budget skew into those mediums, to me, is nonsensical. Then there's the digital world. I think we can all agree that this area can't be ignored. The social media giants have become razor sharp in their ability to segment customers and tailor advertising to them that's based on their preferences. And we're all slaves to our mobile phones. So as marketers focusing on digital content creation, branded educational content, influencer marketing, paid advertising is unignorable. It's also measurable with pixel tracking and live data measuring tools. We all know it's endless. We've already heard lots about it today. Hands up if you spend more than 2 hours a day watching cable TV or satellite TV with adverts in it. Hands up if you spend more than 2 hours a day on your phone. So what I find strange is that most big brands are still spending 10 times the amount of money on big traditional media, billboards, TV commercials, radio, and again, I'm not saying those platforms don't have relevance, they do, particularly for very big brands. But spending 10 times more on those mediums when you've got something as powerful as digital, and we all just put our hands up to say we spend probably 5 to 10 or more times than that with our mobile phones, having a relationship there rather than with those other media forms. So that's the backstory. I've digressed. To me, big media, traditional media, in a way is spray and pray. You spend bombs advertising to hundreds of thousands or millions of people, hoping that you get your message across. You've got no tangible measuring tool other than what, statistically speaking, the number of people that should have seen your ad would have seen it. Digital is a bit more with the times. It's delivered more directly to customers, filtered for appropriateness, with tools to measure throughput and engagement. And you can usually offer more information at that moment with your customer, but you're still not meeting your customer. See where I'm going? Events cut to the chase. Although you're not reaching necessarily a mass audience, it could be a niche audience. They really give brands the opportunity to participate personally, emotionally, and spend time together with customers, to enhance their moment of freedom, uplift a shared experience, and help them create memories they'll remember forever. Done right, events also harness many other media forms, digital, influencers, often significant earned PR, and many times above-the-line media too. But while sponsoring an event or creating a branded event has value, There's a way to engage customers that very few brands understand or dare to try. I see endless branded activations, often on limited budgets. Some brands spending $1 million or $5 or $10 or more on paying a sponsorship rights fee, and then a tiny fraction of that actually leveraging their sponsorship in a boring way. Branding, 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 branding. It's nonsensical. Events are a powerful platform, a gathering of like-minded people together to break free, experience life. Their guards are down. They're there to experience, to meet and share. They're present, they're happy. Before the event, they're building excitement, shopping for fashion, equipment, telling stories on social media, potentially saving money. They're building playlists of music around the music genres that event might share with them. After the event, they're sharing stories, images and pictures. Events can be an extremely powerful and tangible social currency. Look where I was, or perhaps more specifically, look who I am. And sponsors of events get the rare opportunity to participate in this magic. Smart brands and agencies understand how to harness this energy, add value to it, and they benefit enormously. They focus on what matters, creating campaigns that align with the personalities of the people attending. Feed their desire before the event with influencer marketing, digital competitions, stories, tips to enhance the event experience, or opportunities to win, earn, or enjoy more because of you, the brand. And then there's the event itself. I've heard clients tell me it's pointless doing an activation at an event because the audience is drunk. How dare you pass judgment on a whole audience of people anyway? These are your customers, and you've got the rare privilege to meet them personally for an extended period. It's gold. Go big, be thoughtful. Immerse yourself in what the event experience is all about, why the guests are attending, and what memories they might leave with. How can you enhance those memories and leave a lasting impression? Can you call them to action before the event, during the event, or after the event? Rather than tell you what to do, I'd like to share a couple of real-world examples that worked. Go back to our friend Samsung, who were truly brave at the time, and with Rage Festival we created a campaign with them called Remember Forever. Rage is aimed at matrics, and if you know anything about matric, it's quite a thing. You go from being a child to being an adult. You get the right to drive, to vote, and to drink alcohol legally. You also finish school, and school is the only thing that you've ever known. You have a matric dance, a final pens down moment, a last sports game, and finally when it's all done, you have that moment, and I'm sure you all remember it when you leave the school gates for that very last time. It's profound, transformative, and life-changing. So there's much to remember. Once you're out those gates, you come to Rage Festival, and if you know anything about Rage Festival, it's pretty memorable too. So Samsung's Remember Forever campaign asked attendees and aspiring attendees to spend their matric year submitting moments they'd remember forever. The best moments were awarded with epic festival-related prizes like VIP upgrades, limo rides, a private yacht party, artist meet and greets, and aspirational Samsung prizes like mobile smartphones, speakers, and headsets. We even gave away a car. And we received over 20,000 submissions in just 6 months. And those submissions were social media entries on the user's own social media accounts, tagging Samsung and incorporating us. So you can figure that by harnessing the hype of a festival, we generated thousands of photo and video adverts for Samsung, created with users, which truly meant something to them, and which then reached millions of their social media followers online, with zero ad bought and zero content budget. We just harnessed shared hype, the kind that only events supply. Among other activation elements with them, we created a mega mix for Samsung. We incorporated hundreds of these photos and videos that have been submitted to us all year into the main screen stage content, and people loved it. Again, Samsung celebrated them in their special moment. As a company, we're obsessed with Megamix. It's our thing, it's a core competency of ours, a moment of magic. We spend months and months planning them, People watch them, they get goosebumps, they all film. We call ourselves the Goosebumps Company. Booming voiceovers tell stories that pull on heartstrings. In this case, stories of a rite of passage, of sharing this moment of achievement with strangers who've become friends and friends who've become family. And to make a Megamix relevant for Samsung, we had Samsung's Bixby control the main stage in the build-up to the Megamix. If you don't know, Bixby for Samsung is like Siri for Apple. But it was a unique idea that caught the whole audience's attention. A moment so epic in their lives, they'd never forget it. Never forget how they felt, who they were standing there with, how the stories made them feel. And Samsung got to be there with them, adding value, unobtrusive value.
Locating Samsung's Bixby. Bixby located. Hey Bixby.
Hey, Rage Festival. Welcome to the Samsung Megadome.
Bixby, initiate sound factory system check.
Okay, testing audio. Bass.
Unacceptable, Bixby.
Okay, increasing bass level.
Samsung Galaxy Experience.
This to me is the euphoric power of events. Nowhere else do people let you in like this, give you their undivided attention. With smartphones, these experiences get filmed, photographed, and shared, often in relentless detail. People upload reels and story after story, trying to grow their followers or make their friends a little bit jealous. Look, my life is better than yours. And your brand gets to participate, personally, emotionally, in the experience of all who attend, and then if you're sharp enough and brave enough, through the content and stories of all of their followers online. The theme of this conference is breakthrough marketing. I'd like to share a few key ideas on how you can harness the power of events to achieve breakthrough marketing. Some ideas, as anything, are expensive, but not all of the ideas need to be. We've heard about influencers today. Harness the power of influencers, and not just big celebrities. The social media platforms are filled with unique people creating great content and building engaged audiences. You just need to find them, or let people like us find them for you. Influencers can really magnify and lend credibility to your association with event, but it has to be done in a real and authentic way. You provide the brief, they create the content in their own way with their own personality. Give people a reason to stay. When conceptualizing an activation, think to yourself, would I want to stay here? So many brands build hugely expensive pop-up activations at events, only to find people doing a 5-minute walkthrough. And sometimes the simplest, cheapest little activation has people chilling for ages, queuing, returning multiple times, and taking a library of pictures and videos. Give people a reason to spend time with you. The more time they spend, the more they'll remember you. And if you're fresh out of ideas, give them free booze. Dare to dare. I find many brands to be very conservative. It's almost always a lounge or a photo booth or sampling. It's almost always nasty branding. Sound familiar? Why not press the boundaries? Give people an entertaining experience, a surprise, even a shock. Like this slide. We built a slide for Belgravia Gin, and it was the only way to get into a dance floor that took 2,000 people. And while the dance floor was certainly expensive, the slide was not, and it was the best bit. Speaking of daring, for Whitley Neal we did high G&Ts. Literally, you got a delicious gin and tonic cocktail, and off you went to see Pure and Crafted Festival from the air. Or with MAC Makeup, we dared to offer free, unlimited festival makeup, sneaker detailing, and delicious treats. With Samsung and the new Z Flip 4 phone, last year we took the title sponsorship of 947 Joburg Day, which was called Move, and flipped the room just like the phone. We had to beg people to leave, as they simply couldn't take enough interesting pics of them in this rotated room. With Mini, they dared with us as well, and they gave 18-year-olds a free Mini for a week. You can imagine the risk conversations that went on there. But in fact, it was 8 Minis for 2 years, and they sold 450 new Minis as a result. So yes, they sponsored an event, but the complete activation and engagement with the audience happened outside the event. We just need to think outside the box and give customers experiences and opportunities they actually care about, not our latest ad or piece of branding. We need to dare to dare. Ask yourself why they'll attend the event. Find out what matters to them in that environment, at that moment, at that event. Solve that in an authentic way, and then you'll change behavior. I'm extremely excited by the future of events. The technology available to us now to create immersive experiences and tell great stories is off the charts. We've heard about AI today. AI is giving us tools to give customers new experiences. We're also seeing NFTs, people buying NFTs to give them a slice of an event's digital ecosystem, or having a piece of an NFT in perpetuity attached to an event. Before I go, I want to leave you with a last thought. Depression is often caused by living in the past. But the past is a treasure chest of memories, learning and wisdom. It shouldn't be forgotten, but cherished and used as power and fuel. But don't spend more than 10 to 15% of your time in the past, or you'll be depressed. Anxiety is caused by living too much in the future. But we need to live in the future. We need goals, dreams, aspirations. We need discipline to achieve them. But if you spend too much time worrying about what you haven't done before you're going to be happy or successful, you're going to have unbearable anxiety. Don't spend more than 10 to 15% of your time there, which leaves us in the present as we are right now. We all know without a doubt that living in the present creates true happiness for ourselves, for our partners, most especially for our children. So get disciplined about being present. And while I'm telling you to be present in the present, I can't encourage you enough to attend or partner as a brand with a live event. Take it all in as yourself or as a brand. Being present doesn't get much better than being surrounded by people, sharing an amazing moment in time. The music, activations, experiences. Get into the crowd. Resonate with the people around you. Forget your past and your future and dissolve into the euphoria of now. Thanks.
Wow, that really was mind-blowing stuff. Before we head off to lunch and before you say goodbye, Greg, any specific questions?
Thanks, it's Wesley from the Virtual Edge. Thanks for that, Greg. Just a question, during COVID times and going online, was there much of a transition? What would you do with music? You know, I did a lot of online stuff. How do you recreate that kind of goosebump, that thing in that space? You know, with like guys like Tony Robbins and the screens and jumping in crazy. What was your experience? Any advice, anything going forward, or have events changed? Lots of questions, but very curious.
I think what opened up amazingly was the idea of streaming events, even green screen streaming events, where you could put people into the most immersive environments. We even pitched an idea to Old Mutual, who wanted to do a conference of 8 speakers, but they were all in different countries, stuck at home. And the idea was green screen behind each person, send the identical chair to each location, and then seat them at a boardroom, basically using graphics from the green screen, and then send that out to all of the viewers to watch that conference. So in the corporate space, it was really amazing what could be done, because people, I want to say, had to be there. I think even from the conferencing space, it'd be interesting to hear from Chris and the team, how they dealt with it from a conferencing space. Entertainment was extremely difficult if you weren't Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift with millions of followers who could pay. Because if you take, for example, a local performer, a DJ or a band, let's take Jeremy Loops because his face was up there. You know, if he can get 5,000 people to a concert at 300 Rand, he would go online and those same 5,000 people, now of course it's not a full concert, so you want to pay less. So it's not 300 Rand now, it's now $50 or 100 to attend, and 5 of you come and crowd around the same screen. So you sell 1,000 tickets for 100 Rand, not 5,000 tickets for 300 Rand. Obviously in the digital space there's less cost, but it was definitely difficult, I think, for event organizers to turn around quickly enough to start creating what you refer to as, you know, goosebump moments in the virtual space. I think the ones who did it well were Tomorrowland. They created an incredible 3D, like, unbelievable Tomorrowland world, and they ran Tomorrowland 2021 and 2022. 2020 and 2021 virtually. It was quite amazing, but it's still, it wasn't the same romance as going to an attending event. So I think there are amazing things that can be done with events virtually. There's incredible technology that you can create amazing immersive backgrounds. I'm not sold on it for concerts, music productions, and so on.
Just coming from an industry where we also sell to clients, and with most of the chat today being that it needs to be associated with data and analytics to almost get brands to buy in. From an events aspect, how would you guys deliver on that question? I mean, if you're sitting with clients and brands and putting strategies together, how do you convince them, besides the awesome video content that you have, to invest so much into an event without a specific return? Is that risky for brands to undertake?
It's a great question, and it's probably the single most asked question by brands is, how do you value this? I think the one challenge in events is there hasn't been the work done, not that I've seen globally yet, where you'll see, in TV with ARs or in out-of-home media, there's agreed metrics, like if 5,000 people see this, it's worth this amount of money. And someone's done that calculation and finally everyone's believed it. So enough people believe something, then it's true. In events, we haven't done that exercise, but what we typically do is put together a basket of measurable ROI assets for brands. So we will first have, there's our marketing of the event, which runs through many measurable platforms. So influencer marketing, digital marketing are the two that we use the most, but we often have radio partners and TV partners where it's appropriate to the particular audience segment of the event. We work with PR agencies, and we measure using tools like NewsClip what the returns look like there. So we have a basket of measurable advertising platforms that we use to give the brands measurable value. And then when we say, for the rest of it, your experience at the event, it depends. Some brands have something to sell, so it could be a liquor or beverages brand. There's obviously a measurability element there. If you are Vodacom or Samsung or Old Mutual, of course, you've got effectively nothing to sell at an event. You're looking to try and create, brand affinity with the customers. I don't think there's an honest way to value that. I think you either believe in it or you don't. I mean, COVID really, really pressed us to the limits of not spending time together, not talking to each other enough, not having a hug. And that's why, I'm obviously a huge advocate of going to live events. I think as South Africans, we can be a little bit unsupportive, and that's not some kind of bitch for my industry. I think if you go overseas, there's many reasons to come out together and celebrate, whether it's the King's Day in Holland or the coronation of the King in the UK. There's many cultural days where everyone comes out into the streets and hundreds of thousands and millions and celebrate together. I think because we're such a diversified, different group of people from so many cultures, there's not many things that bring us all together. And I think it's one of the most amazing things when you get to come be close to lots of people and just share amazing moments. And my whole story, of course, as you've heard, is brands can really take advantage of that.
Greg Walsh, thank you very much. Give this man a round of applause.